Hey everyone, I just wanted to record just a short video, a little bit of an update of where we're at in class right now. I made a couple of changes in the schedule and I wanted to walk through that a little bit. So let me show you what I mean here. Okay, so here we are, class homepage. I'm going to go down to where we are. Look at all the stuff that we have done, right? The first essay, the reflection essay, was due on Monday, and hopefully everybody turned. You should have turned that in by now. I'm a little behind in my grading because of various other classes and other things going on, so bear with me. It might take me like until like Wednesday or so of next week to get through these, but I'll start looking at these pretty soon. But that's that. And then this is the second part of the readings for stuff having to do with environmental issues with AI. And now we start entering into the last third of the class, which is very different from the first two-thirds of it. Um, we're almost done with the discussions about various topics having to do with AI that I think are important to cover for everybody. So next week, starting on March 23rd, we're going to start talking about issues having to do with um, copyright and sort of ownership of material on about it with AI, because of course was built by these companies arguably just stealing a bunch of books and things like that. It's complicated. The sort of courts have weighed in on this in different ways, and we'll read a little bit about that. Week 11, starting March 30th, that's the last week of discussions that are on a particular topic that I've set up for everyone. It's about regulation. Um, it's a little bit, it's a moving target in some ways, but I think that everything that's here is still pretty accurate. But I have heard some different news stories as of late where the public sentiment for regulation is really quite high versus what the government's doing and what these companies are doing to us and things like that. So this gives you some ideas about regulation. Now, after week 11, after that week, then we move into a territory where you are mostly working on finishing projects. Okay. So, week 12, we're going to have a couple of presentations from graduate students about the books that they reviewed, the books that they've read, and they're going to present us about those. And there'll be some readings associated with things like that. You'll see all about this very, very soon. Then we start moving into the last three contributions to the AI news updates and assignment, and it's due by the end of the day on the 13th. And also due by the on April 15th is the AI updates and news and report that they'll be due by then as well. Now, uh, one thing I changed in the schedule is that for March, I changed the due date for three more contributions to the AI news and updates assignment. This is the website where you're supposed to be posting links to articles with an MLA style citation, a brief summary of what it's about, and why you decided to share this with this with the group. Um, you should by March 23rd have 5 entries on this website. I changed the due date a little bit because I felt like people were falling a little bit behind. And I want to give you a chance to get caught up. And like I said, I'm a little bit behind in the grading and things like that myself. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Same with the second progress report on the AI research question essay. This is the last project of the class where you are doing research on your own about some question that you want answered about AI, or attempt to answer about AI at least. This assignment and the collaborative bibliography assignment obviously connect because you can post links to your research as part of the collaborative bibliography assignment, and you can use that bibliography, that website, to get ideas for your research as well. But the point is that we started at the beginning of the semester talking about how you're going to need to write a research essay about AI. This is the second progress report, which is implying that you've been working on this in the background along with other things. And then we get into, again, here, this part of the week, this part of the semester, week 13, where that's basically what you need to do. Week 13 and week 14 are the weeks where you're going to need to finish up the research writing for the class. So you'll talk about the progress report, and I'll explain what I'm looking for with that with the next discussion, the next update discussion. And we'll also start talking about in week 14, peer review for the research question essay. So what that means is that you need to have a draft of your mostly complete research question essay complete by April 20th. I'll put you in groups. We'll do peer review, sort of like we did with the reflection essay. That'll wrap up on April 22nd. and then it's due at the time on April. Actually, it is due to me by the end of the day on April 22nd. There's a short final that's actually due during finals week, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. I want to be very clear about it. It is what I describe as an opportunity for success. What I mean is that the final is a way to keep track of keep people accountable for doing the reading during the semester. If you did the reading during the semester and you participated in the discussions, this will be a very, very easy exam. It cannot lower your grade. In other words, if you are going into the final with a solid B and you don't do very well on the final, you will still get a solid B. If you do well in the final, you might your grade might improve. Everyone does have to complete the final, though. I had a student last semester who thought, oh, well, my grade's an A, so why do I need to worry about doing the final all? Well, no, you still need to do the final. Um, the way that that will work is that will be due by the end of time for the semester, which is April 29th, uh, 2026 at 5 p.m. And then when you hand in the final, or certainly by April 29th, I will hand back to you the grades and comments on your last essay. One other thing I'll mention here too, and we'll talk about this a little bit when I give you more comments on the review essay, the essay reflecting on your AI experiments, is you have a chance to revise that essay that you just turned in. And I'll talk about the process for that a little bit later. You don't have a chance to revise the research essay because we just don't have time. Okay. I think that's it for now. So take a look at the schedule. If you have any questions or whatever, just ask them in the discussion part below. And as always, I'll see you online.